John, how's it going? How you feeling?
It is going well. I am feeling better. I still am coughing. I'm sucking on cough drops, so sorry if that comes through on the audio. And I had to edit out a whole lot of coughs last week. Probably some more this week. But
all good.
Yeah. I'll tell you, so talking about my weekend will be really easy because I did nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That sounds fantastic.
And to quote a line from Office Space, it was everything I thought it could be. I think I'm definitely still recovering, and I think I've worked myself down from 2 naps a day to 1. But I have been, it has worn me out. So it's kind of funny. But
yeah.
Even tonight, I got to the late afternoon. I guess it was 4:30 or 5 o'clock or so. I went upstairs and sat down on the couch and woke up an hour and 20 minutes later, groggy as heck. Yeah, it's been a thing. So, yeah. But getting better. I feel, I generally feel okay. Waking up fine. I feel like I'm thinking okay. A little foggy still maybe, but getting better. How are you?
I'm all right. As long as the slope is positive, we'll go.
I like to say the first derivative is positive. Yes.
There you go. Well, my weekend was also not extremely exciting. I did some more painting, both inside the house and outside the house. I have a deck that I talked about probably 2 years ago.
You have a deck.
We replaced our old, very small, useless deck with a usable deck that we could actually put a table on and barbecue on and all that stuff. I still don't have it approved by the HOA.
Are you kidding me?
No, because the plan, I had planned to do some siding and make it look a lot nicer before I painted parts of it. And that was what was holding up the final deck approval. And finally over the weekend, I just gave up and painted the pressure treated wood. Just painted that and said, I'm going to call it good. I just need to get this checked off my list. And so the HOA came over this afternoon to take some pictures and to add it to their agenda tonight. Hopefully it got approved.
So it's not that it wasn't approved. It's that you don't know the outcome.
Correct.
I was afraid your story was going to be, and they decided I needed to do some other gymnastics.
Oh, they kind of hinted that I probably need to do some more gymnastics, but I have you didn't make my neighbor do those same gymnastics. So my deck now looks exactly like the neighbor's, not exactly like that, but I have done as much as my neighbor has done, who had their deck done just the year before me. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Okay.
So, and then inside I painted, used some paint to paint behind. So I'm redoing the kitchen, and where the fridge goes, they had just primed it and painted it white.
Okay.
And because I'm me, I painted the behind the fridge the same color as the rest of the walls of the kitchen. Even though you will never see it.
If the walls in the kitchen are supposed to be biscuit, they should be biscuit.
That's
back
right.
There. Just
so
pulling that out of not random because that's the color that our kitchen walls are.
Yeah. So exactly. So I painted behind they weren't going to do it. I said, well, then I'm going to. So I did that this weekend. And my boy and I it was a beautiful weekend. So my boy and I went on a nice bike ride.
Oh, very cool.
So,
cool.
I have my Mount St. Helens hiking date now.
Ooh, you have passes.
I have passes for September 8th. So
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So, But that's a Thursday, and so I got to check my Thursday schedule at work and make sure I get that day off. So
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can work that out.
Yeah, I'll check with my boss. Anyway, so that's what I did this weekend, and then last night, was it last night or the night before? At some evening this last week, my wife and I sat down and watched Uncharted. It's now on Netflix. It's the Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, Indiana Jones.
I remember seeing previews for that.
Yeah, it was. I'll say it was fun, but it wasn't awesome. Yeah, it was worth watching.
Glad you waited for it to come onto Netflix.
It was fine watching it on Netflix. It was fun. There's already a sequel coming out, so if you like, it was fun. Tom Holland, his character was great. Mark Wahlberg's character, it just felt like he was just phoning it in. I don't know. I couldn't get into his character. So
interesting.
But the rest of it was, it was fun. So it's on Netflix if you're bored and have enough couple hours, throw it in and watch it.
Well, maybe I'll throw it. I'm going on a quick trip the end of this week, tomorrow morning, I guess. So maybe I'll throw it on my iPad and if I have time on the plane.
If your plane has in-flight whatever movies, it's probably on the in-flight movies. So
I did watch now I forgot the name of it. The one where the moon crashes down.
Moonfall?
I did, yes. I don't think I mentioned. I watched that on the sorry. Okay, maybe I do still have the COVID fog a little bit. I watched that on the plane back from France, and it was not a bad movie. Oh, and Morbius. I watched those two movies on the way back, and they were probably movies that were perfectly fine to wait until you're watching them on a 4-inch screen in front of the seat, on the seat in front of you.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good. Oh, so I remembered a story I haven't told you yet that about us leaving France that
okay.
I thought was just so, when we left France, we were catching a train to London, right? We were going to go under the Channel and
right.
And it's like a 2 hour, 15-minute or so train ride. No big deal. I think our tickets were for like 11:15 or something like that. And so we had, I think that was the only plan for the morning. Get up relatively leisurely, be there. Since we're traveling in a foreign country, we're planning to be there, significantly earlier than they ask. And no big deal. Like, that's the only thing we have to do that morning is make our way to the train station.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware. I don't actually speak French in any way, shape, or form. So the train station we're supposed to be leaving from is, and I'm going to butcher this. I'm sorry if any of my French-speaking friends hear this. Gare du Nord, like Gare, which evidently means train, du Nord, Nord. Well, we get out of the hotel. I open up Google Maps. Well, I mean, I had done this the night before, and I type GAR, and Gare du Nord comes up first suggestion in Google Maps, and I'm like, oh, that's exactly what we want, Gare du Nord. Except it was GARD du NORE. So the E and the D are the only two letters that are switched in this.
Completely
one is a restaurant. One is a train station. I did not look at the images of this, but so we get on the metro and it takes us, we're like, oh, and I must have made this mistake like even before I left for Europe, because I remember thinking, oh yeah, that's right. It's the one that's over by the Arc de Triomphe. No big deal. So we caught the metro over, get up, come up above the streets near the Arc de Triomphe and then start walking. But we're almost there and we're walking down a relatively steep hill. And in my head, I'm thinking, they're not going to have a train station on a slope. Like, that was actually my first clue, not the fact that it was anything else or that it was like, it seems weird that they would have a train station on a slope. And my wife then was like, are you sure we're in the right place? And so I'm like, here, it's right. And she's like, John, that's Gard, not Gare. I'm like, whoops. So it turned out we were about 45 minutes away from the actual train station. So thankfully we had like an hour to spare, but we did not wind up with much time to spare. By the time we walked back the rest of the way we had come, got back onto the exact same train we had been on, made a couple other metro stops, had to walk, get off the metro, walk to the train station. Anyway, it was my bad, totally, and I blame Google autocomplete. But anyway, we made it. It was fine, but yeah, maybe I should have looked at like the images. I don't know. Anyway, that's my
glad you made it
story
on time, and glad you were your I need to be early self. So
exactly, yeah, because I mean we're trundling our we're wearing our backpacks, pulling our luggage.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a bit of an adventure. So
fine.
Anyway, there you go. That's my leaving France story.
At least you were able to escape France.
Something like that. All right. Well, hey, I threw one thing into follow up today.
Yeah, I did see this. This is funny.
And I'm going to go ahead and leave the link to the link, just because the link is actually, web3isgoinggreat.com.
Yeah.
But in episode 240, 4 episodes ago, we talked about the fact that Texas was telling blockchain miners to shut down so they could conserve power
during the
because
heat
they
wave.
were worried about heat wave. Yeah. Well, it turns out, and it wasn't clear from that first article, Texas pays the blockchain miners to not mine. So Riot blockchain made more in power credits for not mining than they produced Bitcoin in July by mining. So it says they actually mined $6.8 million worth of Bitcoin by mining, and they received $9.5 million in power credits for not mining, which is
good gig.
Oh, just delicious, I guess. Yeah. I don't have the actual article in front of me. I have the said they effectively, yeah. The press release proudly announces that they curtailed a total of 11,000 megawatt hours in July, enough to power 13,000 homes for a month. AKA, that's normally what they're consuming, which is just crazy sauce. So there you go. That's some follow-up, though.
All right. Well, my article is actually a bit of hardware hacking.
Oh.
And it's a story I saw on hacking gas pumps. And I did not realize how easy this was. But with the price of gas, in the last couple months has been on average over $5. It's still $5 around here. I guess it's lower in other places of the U.S., but here in Oregon, we're still at the $5 range. Anyways, the police have arrested 22 people across the country so far for either digitally manipulating computers that manage gas pumps or installing homemade devices to discount their fuel. So these are
interesting.
The fun thing about this. And so the reason this caught my eye was it reminds me of, and you'll see in a minute, routers, home routers.
Okay.
So in the U.S., gas pumps are pretty much standardized. There's one of two companies that actually makes all the gas pumps. Right.
Didn't know that.
There's a lot of gas pumps, but effectively there's one or two. There are two different companies that make the gas pumps. And so the two exploits that they explain is one for each type of manufacturer. So for the first manufacturer, the fuel dispensers have a remote control option that allows station owners and fuel inspectors to access those. And those remotes aren't regulated. So you can go on eBay and
you're kidding me.
Find a regulator and use it. And the reason why this reminds me of the old days of routers is the gas dispensers require remote users to enter a key code to access the controls.
11111.
Of course, many station owners never change from the default, all zeros or whatever it happens to be. So people can basically steal gas by buying one of these little devices off eBay and doing it. And then the second method is used against the second pump manufacturers. This one's a little bit more clever because this one, you don't just buy something off eBay. There are plenty of websites that tell you how to make a homemade version of the pump. And because the gas pumps, what this one does is it tricks the gas pumps into dispensing more gas than it actually tracks. So it tricks the gas pumps. And because the gas pumps rely on a device called a pulsar that measures how much of the gas comes out of the pump. So that's, $5, 1 gallon. It kind of does that calculation on the fly. Well, these little homemade devices you can make with just some small handful of parts from the hardware store can slow that pulsar down so it registers only a fraction of the gas it dispenses. So, $5, $1 gallon of gas actually ends up dispensing 10. So you go and you pay, or you insert your credit card in the little machine or tap your card or whatever, and you pay for your 1 gallon of gas, and you actually end up with 5
that actually
gallons
filled up a F-350.
Yeah, something like that. So anyways, I thought that was interesting that with the ease of finding pretty much anything online nowadays, and anything that is doing anything with software, although in this case it's not all software. The second method isn't software; it is hardware. But the first one is software. You can hack anything, and there is an opportunity cost there.
Interesting.
There. So, anyways, that was the fun one that I saw.
I wonder
a couple of weeks ago, actually,
if any other states will do Oregon, you don't pump your own gas most of the time,
right?
You can do it for diesel, but
and during the super hot weather, Oregon suspends requirement. I've been pumping my own gas for the last month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oregon came out and said, to make it so the gas station attendants don't have to be out in 100-degree weather, customers are allowed to pump their own gas if they so choose.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My last trip, most of them still come out and I'll just start pumping, but you can get out and pump it yourself if you want. I don't know when that order will be rescinded, but that's...
I think, was it New Jersey's the only other state that does...
I think so.
Pump, you can't pump your own gas. Huh. Well, interesting. I'm curious to look, not that I obviously would do anything like that, but I'm curious what it takes to actually build a device that does the pulse, what did you call it, a pulsar? I don't know. I'm picturing like a strong magnet or something like that like you attach someplace and it, like, I don't know what the pulsar is.
Well, there's a YouTube video that shows you how to build one.
Yeah.
It's in a link in the article. So if you want to find out, go watch YouTube.
Let's get on some list.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I brought 2 things tonight. The first one is that yesterday, I guess, this is Wednesday, or we're recording this on Wednesday, yesterday was Patch Tuesday, and Microsoft issued patches for 121 new security vulnerability or bugs this past month, including 2 that are actively being exploited in the wild. So, you should already be on auto deploying patches. Pretty much everyone should. But there's a little bit more data about here, because this is one of the ones that's being actively exploited is the second bug in a support diagnostic tool that has been discovered just in the last month. So of the 121, there are 17 critical, 102 important, and 1 moderate, 1 low. So the number of sort of mediums is very large. Let's see, what other things did I pull out of this though? So the remote code execution affecting the Microsoft Windows Support Diagnostic tool is one of the biggest ones here, which it says, quote, exploitation of the vulnerability requires that a user open a specially crafted file. In an email attack scenario, an attacker could exploit the vulnerability by sending this specially crafted file to the user and convincing the user to open the file. So the other problem with things like this, I feel like we've talked about this, although not for a long time. Many file types can be previewed too. So when you're in Explorer, and,
right.
Even if you click on, just click on it, you can sometimes get a preview of file types, and just opening for preview can. And again, I don't know that this particular one is that, but just previewing a file can wind up triggering an exploit. So the tricking a user to open a file is common. So you can also do it. It says, quote, alternatively, a hacker could host a website or leverage an already compromised site containing a malware-laced file designed to exploit the vulnerability and trick potential targets into clicking on a link in an email or instant message. So the yesterday was Patch Tuesday. For consumers, this should be a non-event because, you should automatically be deploying patches. For enterprises, obviously, maybe that goes a little slower, but patch and patch fast. But my second topic has a website, has a logo.
A website and a logo, that's all we want.
Yeah. So this is epicleak.com with an A. AEPICLEAK.com.
Right.
As in, I don't know what that's called. Is that a Greek symbol with the A and the E next to each other? Anyway, this is a, what they call it? They called it architecturally leaking uninitialized data from the microarchitecture. It's always good when you can get the word architecture twice in the same sentence.
You begin and end your sentence with architecture. Yeah,
that's
there's
true.
There's a check on somebody's list there.
It's like a architecture palindrome. So this is unlike many of the CPU bugs that have come out in the last couple of years that have relied on side channels to slowly and randomly leak data that you have to kind of intuit and attempt to interpret. This is a way to get the processor to return stale data, essentially uninitialized data that was previously used and not zeroed out, from the processor cache itself. So the issue here is that the stale data that can be returned can include data from that was processed inside a enclave, a secure enclave, or what do they call them? Secure guard extensions, SGX. And so, this is different in the sense that you don't have to rely on randomness from a side channel attack, but you do have to rely on being able to find the memory that was previously used and now is not. But that's generally much easier. So let me see this. So let me actually read a couple of things here. It says Æpic Leak is the first CPU bug able to architecturally disclose sensitive data. It leverages a vulnerability in recent Intel CPUs to leak secrets from the processor itself. On most 10th, 11th, and 12th generation Intel CPUs, the Æpic MMIO undefined range incorrectly returns stale data from the cache hierarchy. A privileged attacker is required to access this. What is memory IO? I think memory mapped IO. I believe. So you have to be an administrator or root in order to actually access the
right.
Æpic MMIO. So it's safe from a user attack. But it says, however, systems relying on SGX to protect data from privileged attackers would be at risk and thus have to be patched. And let's see the other quote here. In contrast to transient execution attacks like Meltdown and Spectre, Æpic Leak is an architectural bug. The sensitive data gets directly disclosed without relying on any noisy side channels. So that was what I was saying, maybe a little noisier earlier. So Intel has, it says Intel released microcode and SGX SDK updates to fix the issue, but that since it's a bug in the processor, similar to some of the other processor things like Meltdown, software can work around the bug, but that costs performance. And so, it's one of the reasons why software is awesome. Hardware is tricky. Mm-hmm. We can release a new patch of software tomorrow. Releasing a new hardware system is not as nimble.
No.
Even with as much software that's baked into, essentially the firmware on processors these days.
Right.
Let's see. There's some other questions. There's a paper, obviously, and that you could read for the full details. There's some short videos, and then there's some facts out here,
and a logo,
and not a bad logo, not a bad logo. Looks pretty cool. It's pretty evident what it does. Although, like the font at the top of the page, is that Comic Sans? It looks kind of like Comic Sans.
It does look like it, doesn't it?
It's not quite, because it's not rounded, but it's anyway. It's all good. Anyway, that was my second one. So evidently you'll want a 13th generation Intel CPU at some point.
The font is Luckiest Guy, by the way. Real-time follow-up.
How did you figure that out so fast?
Did you I am a hacker.
Yes.
And I right-clicked View Source and checked the font family for
hacker,
that.
You. That was very quick to be to have popped up the dev tools. I thought. So.
Well,
anyway, all right, good stuff.
I am a hacker. All right, you want my something fun?
Yes, hit me up. What'd you bring?
All right, so you're familiar with the Darwin Awards. I think over the years, we've probably talked about the Darwin Awards occasionally.
I think I have once or twice.
I think I've seen this before, but I stumbled across it again and read through some, and I just was laughing this last week. So it is, there's the Nobel Prize winners, science, economics, important things. Well, these are the Ig Nobel Prize winners. And so these are improbable research. So it's actual research that someone has done, but some of it is hilarious, or research or noteworthy, affectation of public policy. Anyway, so I picked a few to just read off. So in 2016, the biology Ig Nobel Award went to, let me scroll here, it was awarded jointly to Charles Foster for living in the wild as, at different times, a badger, an otter, a deer, a fox, and a bird, and to Thomas Thwaites for creating prosthetic extensions of his limbs that allowed him to move in a manner of and spending time roaming the hills in the company of goats. So research. That was
so they
for
must
biology.
Have written it down.
There is a YouTube video of him marching around. That's right. Adam Savage. He wrote it down, so therefore it is science. 2017, the Peace Prize went to a group of people for demonstrating that regular playing of a didgeridoo is an effective treatment for obstructive sleep apnea and snoring. Research.
Oh my gosh.
Well done. 2018, chemistry. So in 2018, the award for chemistry went to a group of people for, it looks like they're from Brazil or Portugal, for measuring the degree to which human saliva is a good cleaning agent for dirty surfaces. How many times had your mom, when you were little, licked her thumb and wiped your face? So they've done actual research on this.
Oh my gosh.
All right, 2019, medicine. So the award for medicine in 2019 went to Silvano Gallus for collecting evidence that pizza might protect against illness and death if the pizza was made and eaten in Italy. And all these links, I'll link to the Wikipedia page. They have the actual articles, and you can go read the research.
Oh my gosh.
2020, physics. Ivan Maximov and Andrei Pototsky for determining experimentally what happens to the shape of a living earthworm when one vibrates the earthworm at high frequency. That was fascinating research, I'm sure. 2021 in economics, Pavlo Blavatsky for discovering that the obesity of a country's politicians may be a good indicator of that country's corruption. I thought that one was hilarious.
That's fantastic.
Anyways,
okay.
There's biology, ecology, chemistry, economics, medicine, peace, physics, kinetics, entomology. Like entomology in 2021 was a new method for cockroach control on submarines. So they have tons of different awards. They're actually funny. They actually have people who have won both Ig Nobel Prizes and actual Nobel Prizes, listed here. Anyways, I thought it was funny. Some of them are not family friendly, especially in the early days, but funny nonetheless. So that's my, if you just want a good laugh, go scroll through the Ig Nobel Prize winners over the years and the kinds of research that won them an Ig Nobel.
All right. This is hilarious. All right. Why did Patricia Yang get to 2019 physics? Studying how and why wombats make cube-shaped feces. Okay. I did not know that, and I'm pretty sure I didn't need to know that.
Well, September, I probably should have saved this for a month, because in September we will get the 2022 Ig Nobel Award winners.
So
there may be follow-up.
A fun follow-up.
A fun follow-up. Right. There you go.
Well, I did not know that this was going to be your choice for something fun. But I think that my article could wind up being
win one.
An Ig Nobel candidate in biology. Because my something
pictures
fun,
are creepy.
My something fun is scientists use dead spiders to grip objects. Oh, actually, so sorry. That was the internal title is Scientists Use Dead Spiders as Claw Machines. The claw is my master. This, they called it necrobiotics. So, okay.
Necrobotics.
I think I didn't need to know this. But it is researchers at Rice University have created necrobiotics, a new area of research which uses biotic materials for robot parts. And when they say biotic materials, they mean dead spiders. So, the article's not terribly long, but it says that the research began in 2019 when the scientists noticed a dead spider curled up in their lab. Wondering why spiders always die with their legs in that position, Yap and her colleagues did a quick search and discovered that spiders have a hydraulic pressure system that controls their limbs. Spiders do not have antagonistic muscle pairs like biceps and triceps in humans. They only have flexor muscles, which allow their legs to curl in, and they extend them outward by hydraulic pressure. So when they die, they lose the ability to actively pressurize their bodies. That's why they curl up. So they were thinking, this is super interesting. Is there a way we can leverage this mechanism? So they stuck a needle into the internal valves in the spider's hydraulic chamber, created a seal, it says with superglue, and attached a syringe to the other side. So by puffing small amounts of air through the syringe, the scientists could extend and retract the spider's legs. And then, this is science because clearly they wrote it down, because they tested it. It says the dead spiders could pick up more than 130% of their own body weight and last through 1,000 open-close cycles per the paper.
Oh my goodness!
Right? I'm trying to picture the lab. I don't know. Anyway. So, but the problem is that without any kind of coating on the spider's corpse, the spiders only remained functional for 2 days because dehydration made the joints brittle and that they broke. So they covered them, experimented with beeswax coating and other things to try and see if they could slow the loss of the spider's mass, it says. So there's speculation about applications.
So join this with my something fun, was it last week? On hacking the fly brains to make their wings go.
Right.
Take live spiders and hack their brains, and you can pick up pins, specks of dust. I mean, what do you pick up with a spider that's important enough to pick up with a spider?
I don't know. I think I'm beyond where I want to think about it. But I saw this title. I'm trying to think if did my wife share this with me? She might have shared this with me. I forget where I saw this.
I wonder if there's a place you can submit for the Ig Nobel Awards as you should get these guys. You should check these guys out.
Well, like I said, I did not know what your something fun was going to be. I really do feel like they're very complimentary.
Yes, they are.
There you go. Scientists use dead spiders as claw machines. So you can have a spider claw machine.
The claw.
Yes.
All right.
There we go.
Thanks, John.
My pleasure. Something to help you sleep well tonight.
Exactly.
The images are great.
Alrighty, dude. Have a good night.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.